So the other day it was cloudy and terrible lighting, and today it's just sunny the house. Freaking melting. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Harley Nouveau, if you did not know. And today I'm going to be bringing you the next review in my 15 palette long series I'm doing on all of the monochromatic Colourpop 9-pan palettes. Specifically, this episode, if you couldn't tell from the pink and red that I have on, is gonna be about the Strawberry Shake palette. Ooh, ah. Don't worry, for those of you that are lactose intolerant, there's not any milk in it. As always, if you would just like to skip straight ahead to the review portion of this video, I will leave a timestamp down here in the bottom somewhere, so you don't have to listen to my long-winded monologue about my experience dog sitting in this apartment this weekend. So I had some criticism on my last review that there was way too much talking and they wish that they could have seen some of the makeup application, because I had told you guys that I was trying to separate the tutorial from the review part so that it wasn't just all cramped up into one. And I'm a people pleaser, so in one of these corners over here, I haven't decided yet, you will see clips of me doing this eye look throughout the review. You're welcome. I told you I was benevolent and kind. I apologize in advance for how the sun may make this whole thing look. I wish I had a way to block it, but unfortunately I don't, because the window is about 15 feet in the air that way, and yeah, there's no way I can reach up there to like put curtains on it or anything. So yeah, it is now Sunday. I've been here for about 3 days. Jasmine has been gone for 2. And overall, the dogs are pretty well behaved. This one right here that's always in the corner, she's the problem child of the 2. She likes to get up in the trash, and when I took a shower this morning, she knocked that whole thing down. So I pretty much have just left it on the counter for most of this time. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I've been meeting some very interesting characters while I've been here, because I have to take them out on a walk every, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, 3 times a day. Every time I've gone on a walk, it's been a completely different experience. Usually when I'm here visiting Jasmine, I don't really run into that many people when I go out with her to walk the dogs. And this time, every single time there's been one. So first I ran into this geriatric lady who was sweet enough, but she knew way too much about the dogs and about Jasmine, and it really kind of freaked me out because she's like, oh, hey, it's the babies, where's their mommy? And I was like, oh, well, she's out of town in New Orleans, like doing some bridal party or thing. And she's like, oh, that's so sad, she needs that time off. I know she doesn't get out much. Okay. She's like, okay, Snowflake, okay, Dolce, you have a good day. I didn't tell her the name of these dogs. And one thing, if you don't already know about her, that you'll learn about Jasmine, is she's not really a people person. So I can't imagine her just giving the names of these dogs out to random people. So I'm 90% certain that she was a witch. Ignore those cups in the background. That one I've been using to pour water in their thing. That one I was drinking out of, and I didn't bring it over to the desk because this isn't my desk. Anyway, the next person we ran out to and we're on a walk is this, I'm gonna say like 4'11", like 5'2", like he wasn't a little person, but he was a little person. And he was like waiting at the dial box, because you have to dial a code if you don't have a key to get into the elevator. When I went down with the dogs, and on the way back up, he was telling me that he was here to meet his friend, that he was carrying a backpack, which is kind of awkward. I feel like he was like eyeballing me and the dogs. We get out on the floor that I'm going to. He goes one way, I go the other direction. I put the dogs back up and I'm like, oh, I need to go get something out of my car. So I come back to the elevator and he's there again. And this time he gets out on the 3rd floor as I'm going down. So I go out to my car and I come back and he's back at the ground floor at the elevator. I'm obviously like, not gonna confront him because he could be a serial killer, but I'm really kind of weirded out. And I get on and I go back up, and this time he gets out on the 2nd floor. My thought initially was maybe he was a maintenance man because one of the elevators had been broken all weekend, but if he was wearing like normal casual clothes, and the backpack kept appearing and disappearing throughout every time I ran into him. So eventually I just came back to the apartment and locked the door, because yeah, I'm not dealing with that. The next strange encounter I had was actually this morning. I took the dogs out for their first potty break of the day, and as I'm coming back in, I see someone out of the corner of my eye walking up to the elevator, so I hold the door, and I turn around and in walks, I'm being completely serious here, in full S&M, black leather, like straps, thong, boots, mask, but he was holding the mask, not wearing it. Like S&M gimp outfit. And it's like 10 a.m. and I'm not rude. So I was like, hi, how are you doing? And he tells me he just got off work, and I'm like, where the hell do you work? First of all, that you need that outfit, probably a sex club. And why are you getting off at 10 a.m.? I don't know. We go up and he gets out on the 3rd floor. And as he gets out and walks away, I realized, because I didn't look prior, that he totally has like leather hot pants, vinyl, pleather, vinyl. He has vinyl hot pants on, and they have a zipper in the back, and it was not zipped up. So like his whole chili maker was out on display. Such are the days of our lives. Anyway, let's get on with this review, shall we? So today we have the Colourpop Strawberry Shake Palette. You'll want every last drop of this freshly picked palette. Bright pinks, bold reds, and fresh peaches create the ultimate summer-ready look. So right off the bat, it's that same plastic component that all of the other monochromatic palettes have. I heard one of my favorite channels, Teresa is Dead, she referred to them as like cheap McDonald's toy quality. I mean, they're not amazingly high quality, but I've seen worse, and I kind of like the aesthetic of them. As always, on the back, you have the different shade names in case you just really want to memorize them without opening the palette. Inside, as always, it does come with a mirror, as you can see the reflection of my phone recording, and the typical 9 shades that are included. And those shades are as follows. My Milkshake, which is a vibrant berry pink. Whipped, which is a rosy pink with silver and pink sheen. Woke, which is a baby pink color. Paper Straw, which is a soft coral pink, bordering on peach to me. Take a Sip, which is a vivid hot pink with pink and gold sparkle. Delish, which is an icy pink. Berry Fine, which is a bright peach with golden flip. Daiquiri, which is a true red color, although this looks a little more clay. And Shake It Up, which is a mauve berry-esque color. Now, one thing you might notice right off the bat with this is that it is missing the pressed glitter that was in the previous 2 palettes that I reviewed. This one only contains 2 specific finishes, a matte and a metallic. Metallics are not all the exact same kind. If you look inside, and you might have been able to tell when I was swatching, these 3 right here are pressed the exact same, and then this one is a tad bit different. Take a Sip. It's also quite a bit softer. I noticed that when I was applying it to my eye and when I was applying it on my hand, a little bit of pressure caused the pan to start to crumble, and it was a bit, I don't know, powdery is the word. As far as the color story itself of this palette, I actually really do enjoy it. I did, however, find, you might be able to notice whenever you're watching it up here, that when I was applying these onto my eyeball, some of them came out a little bit different than they looked in the pan. Specifically, I found that Paper Straw and Woke specifically came out a lot more pink toned than they look in this palette. As I said when I was swatching them, to me, Paper Straw looks like a peach, and Woke says it's a baby pink, but I feel like it applies much more traditionally pink. As far as the formula itself, I actually did not have any difficulties when it came to blending them out. For me, believe it or not, compared to the Orangey Glad palette and the Honey palette, I feel like this really performed the best. Most of their formulas to me are almost exactly the same, but I feel like they're tweaking it slightly to fix those inconsistency problems that most companies seem to suffer from. When I think about a strawberry shake, there's a specific color palette that is invoked in my mind, and a lot of that is present here. You do have the reds, the pinks, some of it though, like this color down here, Berry Fine, and honestly Paper Straw, don't really fit the image that comes to mind for me. When I think of strawberry shake, one of the first things that come to mind is the whipped cream on top, and I feel like we could have nixed this color. I'm not gonna say this one because we need a transition. I feel like we could have nixed one of these with a more white color, whether it be a shimmer or a matte, just to invoke that feeling of whipped cream. I know that's a tiny little nitpick, but it's just how I feel. I also noticed that there wasn't a lot of issue with fallout when I was applying these, except for daiquiri, and then this one, like I said, which is a very soft formula, but it's pretty common for red shadows to have that problem because usually reds are gonna be more of a pressed pigment than an eyeshadow, just based off of formulation difficulties. But I found that there wasn't really a single shadow that I had an issue or a disappointment with when it came to how it applied. They all went on very pigmented, they all blended out very well, none of them really came out as patchy, despite that little bit of fallout, which is an easy problem, or depending on what company you like, a common problem, because Anastasia Beverly Hills, for instance, are very known for their powdery formula and their high fallout formula, so the tiny bit of fallout that I got with this palette was not an issue for me at all. One of the plus sides to me about the inclusion of these two colors is that I feel like it does add a little bit more variety to what looks you can achieve with this palette that the other ones, I'm gonna say, did not. In the Orange You Glad palette, they're pretty much all orange with the exception of these two right here. This is a little bit redder. This one is borderline brown. In the Honey palette, you get the same issue. They're all yellows for the most part. They're mustard yellows. You do have these two, which are a little bit different. However, I know that this applies a lot more gold than it looks in the pan. I also think, sad to say, and I don't want to say I'm going to eat crow because you've heard me now talk about the dangers of including the glitter that they have been using. I really wish that one of these had been that pressed glitter. As I've got out of my comfort zone and I started using that glitter a bit more, I really have been enjoying it. So I feel like you're missing that element of variety in this palette. As with the other 9-pan monochromatic palettes, at the very least the ones that I have tried, shadows in this one are magnetized, so you can remove them and put them in a C palette if you wish, if people still do that. Honestly, I know I've only reviewed 3 of them so far, but I think that for me, this has usurped Honey as my favorite of the 3 palettes so far. So with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. When it comes to the Strawberry Shake palette by Colourpop Cosmetics, it is, for me, a happily ever after. Obviously, there are some ones that I did talk about that I would have maybe replaced if I had designed this palette, but there isn't a single color in this one that performed badly for me or that I feel like was just meh. All of them were beautiful additions. They all blended out beautifully. They all looked stunning. They all looked very pigmented. I feel that it's the most versatile of the 3 palettes that I've reviewed so far. And yeah, I can't really think of many downsides to this, except for maybe that I do wish that there was a pressed glitter, but that and my personal changes to the color scheme are not enough for me to say that this is not worth it. I think for $12, this is totally worth it. If you're someone that doesn't have a red or a pink palette and you're wanting this kind of color story, I really recommend going online and getting this. I think this would be a welcome addition to anybody's collection. Yeah, it's just so freaking cute. Tell me I'm wrong, fight me. Just kidding, I'm not gonna fight you. Yeah, what were your thoughts on this palette? Did you agree, did you disagree? Do you wish something had been changed? Do you wish I had talked about something that I didn't? Let me know down in the comments below. I always love to get other opinions besides my own. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of my content, please like and share with your friends so that they can come check me out. You can even talk badly about me if you want to, I don't mind. Please subscribe. I would love for you to add your name to the storybook that is my life. And if you do subscribe, don't forget to ding that bell so you get a notification every time I upload. I'm trying to do it 2 or 3 times a week at this point. I think I'm doing okay. And that is all that she wrote for today. Another chapter has been closed. As always, I am Harley Nouveau, and until our stars next align.